My name is Dr. Poornima Luthra, and I am a teaching faculty at the Copenhagen Business School and the founder and chief consultant of Talented Consultancy. I have been in academia for over 13 years, and I'm looking forward to sharing my thoughts with you about the future of education. When it comes to thinking about areas of improvement in education for the future, there are two main areas that we need to look at. The first is that we need to ensure that education is accessible for all, that we need to ensure that education is as inclusive as possible, that we're reaching as many students and children, and to reduce the divide that we have between those that have access to good quality education and those that do not. COVID-19 has certainly shown us that there is a digital divide as well as a gender divide in education as we look at the kind of education that is available across societies and communities. So it's really important that we address this as we move into the post-COVID-19 era of education. The other thing that we really need to think about when it comes to the future of education is to think about what we're educating our students in. If we keep in mind that according to Dell Technologies and the World Economic Forum, 65 to 80% of the jobs in 2030 don't exist today. So what are we preparing our students for? What kind of skills do they need to have? What kind of knowledge and know-how do they need to have to be able to perform in the kind of jobs that will be available in 2030? To be able to address some of these improvements in education will require us to rethink the pedagogy that we have right now. We will first need to move towards a more holistic way of looking at education, not just in transferring knowledge in the subject matters as we know, but also in the development of life skills in our students. According to the Future of Work, there are a number of life skills that students will need in the future that we need to start focusing on now in our classrooms. And these skills include resilience, adaptability and flexibility, the ability to think critically, the ability to continuously learn and be engaged in constant learning, as well as emotional intelligence, entrepreneurial spirit, as well as creativity and innovation. And these are some of the skills that we need to focus on as we educate our students for the future. Secondly, another area that we can focus on within our pedagogy is to think of subject matter as being interlinked with one another. Rather than being silos, we need to look at education as being an interlinked body of knowledge, and we need to ensure that our learners are able to learn in that way, to be able to make those connections between the different areas that they are learning in. And finally, I think we need to rethink the role of an educator towards someone who's more of a facilitator, as well as someone who sparks curiosity in students to want to learn more and to develop themselves even further. So these are some of the areas that we need to focus on when it comes to looking or re-looking at our pedagogy for the future. I'd like to thank Gurushala for inviting me to the subject matter expert session. It was so lovely to see the kind of questions that teachers were asking, that they were really thinking about the future of education. It's so lovely to see the amount of passion that our teachers in India really have towards their students and ensuring that they're providing the best possible education for the children in their classroom. My message for all teachers who are listening in is that we really have an important role to play as teachers, as educators. We need to build in our students a strong work ethic and a desire to want to make positive change in the communities that they live in as well as in the world. To be able to address some of the world's biggest challenges, including climate change, ensuring that there's diversity, equity, and inclusion in our societies and in our workplaces requires us as educators to build know-how, skills in our students so that they can go out and be agents of change. Another thing that I think is really important for us as educators to also develop in ourselves a growth mindset. I am reminded of a quotation by Alvin Toffler, which says that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And I think it is so important for us that we expect our students to be continuous learners. It requires us to be continuous learners as well.